Hey Daniel, can you hear me?
Hear you. What up? Yodo
Hey,
Dodo.
I have a question for you tech heads. How do I turn um my ear pods higher?
Your volume button on your computer.
Yeah,
Doot, doot,
you
doot.
would think it's all the way up.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, what device are you on? I guess is a better question.
I'm on a computer.
So and usually wherever your speaker thing is, there's a volume for that, and you could
Maybe
toggle.
it's within the app.
Oh, well, there's an app for that.
Yeah, there is.
Amazing. Amazing.
Ah,
We'll figure this out as we get a quorum here. Chris is looking all formal in his scrubs. Let's go, Chris. Let's go. You recording your heart rate right now, Chris? You should be. I know. All right, cool, cool. We gotta double check that. We're getting some people joining. Andy's working on his tech stuff, dude.
the-
And your headphones are wireless.
they're wireless, but they're really quiet. Can you hear me and my volume's okay
Oh,
for you?
loud, bro. You're good. Good to go.
Maybe I.
47 BPM. Everyone put up their heart rate real quick. Let's see who's lower or higher than Chris. Over under. Half higher, half lower. Boom. What is that? What is that called? Stupid bets? Caduce, what's it called? Handshake bets?
Handshake bets.
Oh, has anyone seen handshake bets before? It's like this new thing, Scott, who's sitting here, told me about. It's like stupid bets people make, like how many jelly beans are in that cup, and then they make a bet on it. It's really fun. Seems like a dude thing, to not to be sexist, but it seems like a dude thing. How big is my wheel on my bike? It's one of those. Potts, you ready, or what are you doing here, buddy?
I'm ready. I just might have to ditch these ear pods.
You can do that. Good, bro. No, now I can't hear you at all. You're a bozo.
Now,
What?
I've tried this like four times to try to hook these up
Yeah.
when we do this,
Yeah.
and really, really quiet in my ears. But
Yeah. It's not like we haven't done this for the past, I don't know,
no, no,
5 years.
no,
Yeah.
I know, but I usually don't have to like keep it quiet and put the earphones in, but now I do, and
All right. Well, you got to figure it out. It's 9:34. More people are
okay,
joining, but I think we can get started. What do you think, AP?
let's do it.
All right. Yodel Dodo, welcome everyone. AP Racing. This is February 2025
2025.
team meeting. Ask us anything. You guys didn't ask us much, but you asked us a few things, so we'll answer those, and we got a few other things we want to talk about too. But first and foremost, there was heavy action on the gridiron this past weekend, but overshadowing that was the most competitive gridiron action of the year, AP Racing Fantasy Football. Congratulations to our winner of Division One, Andy Potts, and winner of Division Two, Michael Carklins.
It's
Champs,
it's rigged.
if you're not playing in this league, you just don't know how good it is. You thought the Eagles flew. Potts and his team flew. Like, let's go. Uh, Michael, you had a good season. Not good enough, though. I mean, it was reminiscent of the Browns. High hopes, low performance. I don't know. Just saying. But congratulations. Potts gets to keep the trophy again. We'll be mailing the other trophy out too. I think Chris's heart rate now is above 90 because he's so excited for fantasy football next year. Let's go. Beyond that, we had a sick time at AP Racing Swim and Ski Camp.
Yeah, we do.
Sarah's there, who I see right now. She looks a little different with her helmet on and off, but always smiling and happy. Trailey, there we go. Oh, look at that mug Trailey's got going on. It was kind of an awesome day. How many times did we swim pots in, what was it?
8 times.
In what, 4 days? 5 days?
Yeah,
4 days?
5 days.
8 times in 5 days. Big gains. We got Trailey's hand to do this instead of this. just sometimes. We got Sarah to extend her stroke, right? Get a little smoother in the water. Big gains. If you want to swim focus and just a lot of fun, this is probably our most low key camp. And just a ton of fun, super social. I'd like to make a note about winners, though, since we talk about fantasy football. We were all winners at the camp, but the winners were the trivia champs. We went to trivia night, and I'm not going to say anything, but that was Daniel Brienza, Scott Caduce, Brian Abraham, and Dr. Buzz Potts. People had their doubts. We were pretty good,
You
though.
guys didn't win.
We beat everyone from else from AP Racing, which
You totally did not.
yes, we absolutely did.
We had more
They got
points than
third,
you
yeah.
What?
You guys got third.
Yeah, we got
in our
third.
group. Yeah, you guys did.
No, yeah, you were in like fourth or fifth, bro. Traley.
We
Traley,
won.
thank you. Thank you. Bro, maybe you should pay more attention to the game. You would have realized what happened.
Although we did have the best team name that just
Yes,
kept
we did.
growing.
What was that?
I thought your team you guys won, Traley.
No, we got like fourth or fifth. Yeah.
How
We
many
were behind
points
Daniel.
do you remember how many points you had?
Like 31 or 34.
Yeah.
Well, 35 won the whole thing.
Oh, then way down, then 31.
Yeah, we
Danny,
were
you guys had 28.
no, we were 32 or 33, bro. Traley,
Mhm.
thank you.
Yes, you won. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, Dara. Sorry.
Misremembered.
Yeah. I remember when I win because it always happens. I'm just saying. All right. So with all that said, let's dive in. We're gonna start here today with saying you should come to the swim and ski camp. No, with the logistics questions everyone had, because that's what everyone wants to know. It's super exciting for us to answer these questions because that's what makes triathlon great. Number one, people asked about Prezio and Boco orders. Prezio, the store we're gonna open up in the next week or two. It just took a while to get our designs going. Some casual wear, some run wear, bit of everything, some new stuff too, kind of to match his team's kits. The other reason why this was a little slower is because we actually have a supplier in Denver now that's really good. They're the biggest supplier of like custom apparel in I think the US actually that we're trying to work with. So this just got delayed on our end. Give us a week or two. You'll see the thing. The good thing about Prezio is it's made to order, so it'll come real quick. Boco, I'm actually not sure if we're going to do Boco this year because Prezio has hats and other things like that. And to be completely open kimono, if you will, we typically lose money every time we do Boco orders because we never hit the minimums. And then Andy and I have to buy all the stuff and then we give them to like people on Halloween when they come to our front door. It sucks. So we're probably not going to do that, but maybe. I will say. Team list of sponsors and discounts. Yeah, so I have a sheet that already has it. As you guys might remember, who's been on the team for years, we usually do a sponsor week or so where we highlight all them and we do a bigger discount for that week. That again is coming in a week or so. We actually have a camera and lens sponsor who's going to be wiping all of our lenses so that we can see better. Good job, Andy. So we are going, that'll come out in like a week or two. I have the list that I can share already, but I'm just trying to finalize a few more. And as you guys know too, a lot of things trickle in as the year goes on. So always be on the lookout and we'll keep announcements going. Sparrow orders, I believe they're supposed to come the first or second week in March based on that like 6 to 8 week timetable from when we ordered. I'll follow up. I'll let you guys know. It looks around that time, maybe a week later because they switch factories again or something. And then we had one training question that you guys posted because all you guys got everything figured out just like we do. It was a nutrition question. Potts, should I be taking as many calories as I burn, for instance, on the bike when I'm training or racing?
All right. One bit before we jump into that one was on the sponsor side. We do, if you guys are in the market for wheels, we do have a potential new wheel sponsor coming your way. So if you want to sit tight, don't pull the trigger for the next little bit. We'll have something figured out for you guys.
And you're going to be super psyched about this one if you know anything about wheels. Just saying.
They're round.
Yes. Super round.
All right. So nutrition question. All right. So I think some of this is stemming from weight supported to supporting your own weight, like when you're on the bike versus when you're on the run. Some of it's logistics, like how much can I carry when I'm on the run, or do I even stop to do anything on the swim? How much should I be fueling when I'm training in the swim? Now, the bike is the easiest place to transport and carry your nutrition with you. Um, and when we look at the numbers, a lot of what we try to do is engineer for what is required not only in racing, but also how to fuel for today to prepare for tomorrow. When you look at how that balance really works itself out in terms of the carbs and protein ratio and fat ratio that you want, what I like to do is reverse engineer from the actual requirements of a race. Specifically, on my really difficult days, I try to mimic race conditions. And with that said, I try to aim for about 40% of what I'm burning versus what I'm consuming. So keep the numbers nice and even here. If I'm burning 1,000 calories, I'll look to take in about 400 calories. Burning and maybe 50%. 50% was kind of our number that we were kicking around earlier today on what we think is ideal. Knowing that you don't do much fueling on the run, you'll do a little bit, but you're burning way more than you're taking in. You just want to get to your feet with as much energy as possible. So we're looking at that 40 to 50% of calories in versus calories out, and then making sure that you are fueling after training. You do know, if you want to play the game, some of the standards that you can get this information from, and you can do it like a rudimentary way, or you can do it a highly scientific way. If you capture your kilojoule burn or your calorie burn during a ride, and then you calculate backwards, like, oh, okay, each bottle is 300 calories. I was able to eat or drink 4 bottles and I burned 2,100 kilojoules. Well, there's 1,200 calories in and 2,100 calories out is about 50%, a little over, maybe 56% right there. So that's one way you can do it. A highly scientific way is you can get a DEXA scan. A DEXA scan will tell you how many calories that you have from that you can access through glycolysis versus through burning fat. And that will give you your actual numbers that you need and how much you have in reserve. You have, I mean, what's the old saying? Like, it's, you need water every 3 days or you die, and food every 3 weeks and then you die. Is that right?
Feel like I'm dying every day, bro. I don't know. Yeah,
So
something like that. I know.
you do have a lot of fat in your body that you can use as energy. The key is how to tap into it during a ride, making sure you don't go above that zone to tap into it. And then what I like to do is I calculate backwards in terms of what's required for an Ironman, and then I do some calculations. It does take some effort, and everybody's individual. Like, I'm a bigger person. I'm almost 80 kilos when I race. So yeah, I require a lot, but I also burn a lot. And then I have to learn how my body tolerates it. So we do like to say that you're an experiment of one. Trial and error is a really good method for a good way to approach what you can tolerate and how you can fuel the best. A really rudimentary test is to push your FTP, or I think like actually in the sweet spot. So you go like 10% below your FTP for as long as you can go. And once you stop caring about life, that's about how long you can go without consuming any calories. So I made it one. I think I've done like 2:36 before, 2 hours and 36 minutes before things got real. The shades went out and I passed out.
All right, so that actually leads to some other things. Couple things on this to break it down into normal people terms. So, like, if you're taking a ride, right? First hour would usually be like a Starbucks breakfast sandwich. Hour two would be a McFlurry. Hour three would be taquitos. No, I'm only kidding. I think we got this dialed pretty well. My phone's going off. Haha. Okay, so Um, this actually brings me to something very interesting, Potts. You talked about being able to kind of push and the shades going out, right?
Mhm.
So with athletes in general, right? What first of all, why do the shades go out? Let's start there, and then I'm going to dive into the other thing.
Yeah, so the shades go down when you actually your body is starting to protect itself. So your body is saying, "Hey, we know you have more calories, but to survive, we're going to actually shut you down." And your brain starts to get a little foggy, and it's like a survival mechanism that kicks in.
And is that because of lack of because you have different ways to fuel, sugar, hydration, all these things?
Usually, it's glycogen depletion,
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
meaning sugar.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Yeah.
And
So
there's
it's
different.
not because your body can't eat your protein. You can't you have plenty of energy in your muscles if you go catabolic, and you have plenty of muscle energy in fat. Um, in terms of how ATP works, but when the shades go down, it's usually because of the shuttling system within glycolysis starts to peter out.
Exactly. All right. So you brought up something else that was interesting. You said I'm kind of about 10% below FTP. First of all, FTP, for all of us out there, hopefully we know what that is. We can talk about that a little bit. But
Functional threshold power.
and everyone kind of measures this a little differently. When we do it, typically you'll see we'll do like these 3 by 12 minute sets, right? And the reason behind this is that a lot of people can actually fake a 20-minute set, believe it or not, right? Because it's long, but it's not super long. 60 minutes, that's really hard to do. Um, but being able to go 10% below FTP for, like you said, 2.5 hours, right? That's not that hard at the onset. It's not hard at all. But as you build into it, it gets really hard. So I would call it sneaky and grindy versus hard and oh my God. It gets to oh my God. And one of the things you and I have talked about is a lot of people don't understand what that does physiologically, but also mentally. Yeah, because most people can handle hard because hard is usually short and it's like focused. But how do you handle grindy and sneaky? And is that so? The question, I guess, is that more of a determinant of your success as an athlete or not? And how do you train that?
Yeah, I think there's number one is there's a real skill set involved here with how to meter out your energy and your power. We have on the bike, people are getting into less and less of a trap because of a power meter. They know not to overcook the first few minutes. The power meter kind of keeps things contained, but that's a direct feedback in terms of actual live real time power. You don't have that really in the run right now. We have a little bit with run power starting to get there, but there's nothing like that in the swim. The only way we know in the swim is if you're clock watching out the corner of your eye in a pool and you know how to flip and you know what you're doing. So metering out is a skill, and being able to closely approximate this is just like that. 300 watts is just like 5 minute pace. I know what that feels like, 300 watts. I'm going to try to match that for the 5 minute pace per mile. And then you see where it kind of takes you from there. So, this is a kind of a really good lesson in pacing, in knowing like how to apply power at the right times. But ultimately, it comes down to can you dig in and does your technique not fall apart because you so overcooked the front end? If you didn't overcook the front end and it's just a matter of will, well, that's between the ears. If once you rule out the physiology of overdoing it in the up front, if you're real smart up front and you just can't push because you start to wither and wilt because of the effort, like some of that's between the ears, and you can get better at it for sure. And one of the key sets that I like to do is like I say, go way too easy up front, and then as best as you can in the back half, and then slowly that front end starts to get up to get a little dangerous, and then you back it up. But you start real mellow and you bring it home real strong. So you just do negative split work, lots of negative split, and these negative splits can be anywhere between like 100 cruisy, 100 negative split. Just go faster on the second one. You can do 200 in the water. And on a bike, it could be, first 5 minutes cruisy, second 5 minutes strong. Do that a couple rounds. You can, but what we'd like to see ultimately is, first half hour, nice and controlled. Second half hour, there's real work involved here. So
that was like when we were at camp last week, swim and ski. That was last week. I jumped in with them for the first, like, to swim for a little bit, and you're like, all right, first 50 chill, second 50 better. And I went out super chill, and I came back super hard, and I was 31. Like, and it was like, I felt, or 31, 32. And I was like, I thought I went so much better. And, and it was slower. And so, like, your mind can mess with you, your brain can mess with you. You really need to train it, and you really need to be patient. Patient is the word and the name of the game.
I will say this. One of the nice things about having a coach is that steady reminder that this is a pursuit and this is a quest that's lifelong. It's not necessarily like something that you can fix in a week, a month, half a year, 3 years, 5 years. Like, this is a constant pursuit. And if you've got the skills to do it, then you can just get better at it. And then you can see where it can take you. But I don't know if you can ever really solve for this problem other than through curiosity and keep trying.
All right, so let's just actually think about it this way. Like, the micro problem is within a race, in a training session. How do I make this training session the best and meter out my effort and be good throughout, right? Then if you take it a step further, it's in a week. How do I meter out my kilojoules and my effort throughout the week? And then how do I do it in a month? And then I do it in a year. And that's where, like, looking at small to big or big to small really matters when you're working with yourself, your coach, or whatever. I mean, we've talked about it before. So many people are like, I got to have that perfect training session and I care about that perfect interval. It doesn't matter when you kind of look at it from when you take a step back and you're like, okay, how did my effort meter out throughout the year? And that's what's going to create your gains and your differences. Agree or disagree, Mr. Potts?
Yeah, I really like the week synopsis. I think you can do it within an interval.
Yeah.
I think you can do it within a workout. I think you can do it within a day, especially if you have one or two workouts. But if you look to backload your week, the reps required to continue to put in a solid effort are substantial on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or however your week is. If your week starts on Monday, if your week starts on Wednesday, then it's always the second half of the week, wherever your week starts. So, and we are working within the time frame of a week. Lots of people do like that schedule of 7 day schedule. There are better schedules out there, but the way we have our calendar and clocks and quadrennial plans, everything is usually week based. So you got work week, you got school week. So we like the second half of the week. You can be as smart as you want up front through first 3 days, but the last 3 days, they really end up telling the story of what you're capable of achieving. And Daniel, you said this for a long time, like you kind of fall to the floor of your, what is the saying you like? You don't rise to the occasion, you
don't rise to your occasion, you fall to your preparation.
Yeah.
So you're always going to fall back to where you've prepared at, not rise above it. Like, sometimes you do, but typically you're falling back to your prep. So build the floor, build your baseline. And that doesn't mean base fitness, just zone 1, zone 2 work. I just mean fall back to where your floor is, like how high you were able to raise it, and you can be good from there.
Yep.
Oh, all right. Oh, dude, we got some questions here.
Let's go.
Mine. All right. Should I be concerned that one of the pools I swim in is 84 degrees? Not if you're at the citizen center or you're in a hot tub. You're good. Um, I think you should be more concerned if you're not in the pool. Uh, it's not ideal, but you swim at what you got.
84 is not that warm. It's warm, but you can work in it. At 86, I would be like, hey, let's just do cruisy swims at 86 degrees. 84, you can push a little bit. It'd be ideal if that were maybe 2 degrees lower. 84 is a little warm, but
Is that where is 86 what it is at your senior home, Andy?
yes, that's what most seniors like to swim at.
That's what I thought. Okay, cool.
Here at the establishment.
At at the compound. All right. Coming off surgery, I found that my fitness is good, heart rate's high. I'm getting so sore that I'm bent over and having a hard time getting around the house. Do I dial back or keep pushing? You want to say?
All right, so soreness usually because comes from the lack of acclimatization to the movement. And so if you know why you're sore, my default is the saying of the only way past is through. So keep going. But if the soreness is always new and it's at the site where you had surgery and there's a bad pain versus a good pain, don't ignore the bad pain. And if it's bad sore, then talk to a licensed professional medical provider. But if it's just soreness because like, oh, I haven't done squats in 6 months and I started doing squats. Yes, keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. More. Come on.
Yeah.
We know why you're sore.
My caveat to that would be you don't have to push through at your hardest effort and level.
Correct.
You need to push through. Right. So you can play with the different levers, whether that's intensity, duration, right, type of exercise. And I would vary those to be able to get through it. Because if you're like, oh, Andy said to push through, I'm going to go at 100% every time now. It might not work for you, right? But you will get better. Consistency over big days. Michael, I know you asked that question, and you're prime culprit for this. You're better to be consistent than be big, okay? 40 to 60 minutes is better than 3 hours once a week. All right. All right, another good question. Ironman training. What do you think about low heart rate training to increase aerobic system, like the math method, or how much should high intensity training be incorporated? We live on a spectrum. I'll start with this and then you could jump in, Andy. We live on a spectrum. Nothing is like when we talk about aerobic versus anaerobic, it's not like there's this line and you're like, oh, I switched it off and I switched it on. It doesn't work that way. So we have to train the spectrum. Okay. I think that's a starting point. And there's no like, it's just this or just that. You have to train it all because your body needs to adjust, adapt, and change. And it doesn't do that from the consistent, same stimulus all the time. So I'll start with that. Potts?
Yeah. If you are always hitting one note, it's really hard to, it is, unless that song's one note, you'll be really good at it. So I think that I did heart rate training for a really, really long time. And I love what it did and what it does. But I think knowing now, I think I was married to my heart rate. I would probably use it as like the byproduct, not as the like this is what's happening versus stay in this heart rate. Let the heart rate kind of adjust as you demand more or demand less from yourself. And the tricky part here is like sometimes if you have a flatline heart rate, you will have a varying degree of power output, or the power output will go down, 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 and the heart rate stays the same. That doesn't mean that you're doing what's necessary. It's just that you have these confines that you're working within, and it's more outcome oriented. And I think we're learning more and more that more attention should be paid to the process versus the outcome.
the heart rate is a way to measure what's happening.
Mhm.
Like you said, it's the outcome of the byproduct. We like to measure inputs more.
You can do a really good job with heart rate, but you better be good at back half and things. You better be good at that negative split. Um,
And yeah, the
and
other
have that a lot of mental toughness.
Yeah, and there's a trap with heart rate on both ends, either going too easy or too hard, because like as we get late into our week, our heart rate's reacting differently. Or if we're not hydrated, it's different. Or if it's hot, it's different. So like if you're gonna say, oh, my anaerobic set or my aerobic set, whatever, either way, is on Thursday, I would look at my heart rate from that Thursday to the following Thursday. I wouldn't look at it compared to Monday. So you really have
Yeah.
to have really good internal awareness and be able to monitor and mine a lot of data that way. You're better off looking at your input to figure out your output.
Yeah. That nuance is hard won.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Uh, yeah.
You get to Thursday and you're like, oh, I got to get at 140 and you're at 120 pushing 330 watts and you're like,
Yes.
I can't do
Yes.
this. I can't do this. And it's because
Yes.
your
And
body.
you start like trying to crack the whip on yourself to lift the effort, but what's required to do it is unsustainable. So, but if you're a slave to in either direction, that's a bit of a trap.
Yep, absolutely. All right, here's a good question. And I just purchased a kicker roller. So we have multiple bikes with power, or a spin bike, a gym bike, all this stuff. But my power is significantly different when I do FTP test. How to ensure I'm working the correct zones. All right. So when you do testing, whether you're on a power meter, indoors, outdoors, bikes, whatever, you want to make sure it's consistent. So if I'm doing my tests, I actually always want them in the same environment as best as possible. I want to control for as much as I can. The other thing is, if I'm using different devices, bikes or meters, I might have to calculate my FTP or understand the consistency between them. So if it's a 1 to 1.2 ratio, I have to calculate that and use it. So when I'm on my spin bike, I might be using different power zones than when I'm on my road bike or on my rollers. And part of this is how they measure. Part of it is your effort level, and part of it is mechanical. Like you can put out different power on rollers, most people, than they can on a spin bike because the rollers move. And you have to measure balance and your stability muscles and all other stuff too.
Yeah, totally agree. I think that you should probably, if you really want to know, do a test on each
Yep,
and
exactly.
then compare apples to apples. And then once you have that baseline and you have that knowledge, you will have to occasionally retest, apples to apples, but then you can start to work backwards again
Yeah, and
and
it's
work on that differential.
the same thing. Like a lot of times we'll have, not always, but sometimes we'll have different power for indoors versus outdoors that we work in
Mhm.
because
Big
it's
time.
yeah, just different.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
sweet. All right. So Potts, I think the motto for the day was learn how to grind. No, how to meter your effort, right?
Yep.
That's really a measure for success. Um, I think everything else stems off of that.
Yep.
Um,
Metering out the effort, being consistent with your approach. My college coach always used to say, just give me an honest effort. Just give me an honest effort. And if you can tell yourself and look yourself in the eye at the end of the workout, like, hey, I did my best without lying to yourself, then you did your best.
yeah, it's kind of like in AP Racing Fantasy Football, be honest and get after it, and typically you win. I mean, or you just cheat like Andy does, but I didn't say that out loud. Only kidding. Um, how about them Eagles? Woohoo, 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 fly, Eagles, fly.
Let me see your eagle.
Woohoo, woohoo, woohoo,
So
woohoo.
you do it this way?
I don't know.
What's
My
what's
hand is all
this?
messed up. I don't know, bro. That's more like a, I don't know, a
This
eagle.
is like the shadow one.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I don't
Yeah.
know. I got nothing else.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of psyched that it's middle February. We had a sick swim and ski camp, and we got an even better Chula camp coming up in a couple weeks. Should be good.
Okay.
All info's going out about that now, which is awesome.
Yep.
Oh, what kind of update you want, Scott? See, he asked for a schemo update. Well, training is going okay. Potts, you know what I did yesterday? Oh, you saw my Strava. Yeah. Yesterday I did from Center Village up to top of B, down to West. Wait, down to West, up to top of Timberline, down up to Union Peak. It was about 5 hours. Pretty good. It was really funny though. So this is a side story. We're going up and we stop for a second. I was with Scott and I turn around and like he's dripping. His headband, so he's dripping everywhere. I had my hood up. I was freezing. Like I was like, come on, bro. Let's go. Like, so, but then he got his laugh on the way down because I went over my skis and went flying because I can't ski downhill and powder. But you know, it is what it is.
How do you traverse? Do you just go easy road?
What do you mean traverse?
Like, how do you go from the top of B to West?
Come down, go under Airy, go under the trail that's under the lift and pop left towards Woodward Express.
Oh, you actually do a slope.
Yeah, downhill.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Old trail. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a local. I know the ways. I know the ways.
Cool. I
Actually,
didn't know if you had to go on like an easy road because of the ski width and stuff.
nah, it's fine. You ski anything on those things. I mean, I fall on anything on those things. Um, I'm going out today. I'm gonna go steal some KOM. So I didn't realize they were Strava segments for Schemo, and so I've been just
Nice.
logging most things as runs. And then Caduce took like was top five in some KOM. So I was like, I changed everything to Schemo now, and now I'm taking them all.
Let's go.
Popowski, you're going down. That's an inside joke. Do you guys what was I gonna say? So Strava in Colorado Springs, there was this guy who had like every KOM. Do you remember that, Potts?
Oh yeah.
And we'd see him on the road, and he'd be like up the road, like coming towards us, and I would just scream, "Pabalski, I'm coming for you!" And we still go take all his KOMs. He was good though. He was
Yeah,
talented.
he's a real good rider. Yeah.
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 But I'd yell at him. He had no idea I was. I'd yell at him every time he came by.
That's so funny.
Good. Yeah, no. Yeah, so that's the update on Schema. We got another, what do we got?
10 days.
10 days till we race. Oh, we're gonna probably race this weekend too, but it's a different effort race. So actually, here's a good thing to talk about before we go. You have to prepare for the race you have to get the results you want. So similar triathlon, I'll tell you, I went out and did a Schema race 2 weeks ago, and it was from Center Village, top of B, which is like it's like 2,500 feet and about 2.2 miles. So it's hardy, steep and hardy. And I've been training for this long race, like it's like a 7, 8 hour race. So a lot of zone two stuff, a little up and down stuff. And I went out and I got my doors blown off. I I I,
Oh,
I think I was like 4 minutes behind. I threw up everywhere, like coming up. Like I was with the leaders and I friggin' threw up everywhere because that race required zone five really hard and then settle at zone three. Like punch and then settle, buffer lactate, right? I hadn't done any of that. Now I know and I can train for it. So I'm going out today and I'm going to steal some KOMs. I'm going to go after it. But like, it's the same thing in triathlon, right? Like you have to prepare for what you want to do, right? Plain,
weird.
yeah, that's what I got. I'm sure people are super interested in schema. Thank you. Dying. Oh, good times. All right, that's all I got. If no one's got questions, I'm ready to go do something. So
Okay.
thank you,
Thanks.
everyone. Hope everyone's
Yeah,
doing
thanks
well.
for joining us.
Michael, keep on getting better, stretching, doing your mobility, and also doing some strengthening stuff that's going to really help you. Everyone else get after it. Chris, go save some lives. Do a little Heimlich right now. Get that heart rate up. Let's go. All
The only
right.
way past is through.
I feel like following a Heimlich maneuver. That's a weird saying. People try and connect the dots, but let's
There you
go.
go.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Deuce.
Twos.